Hello everyone, Shinto Bean here with another faction focus video. This time we'll be looking at Orks. Now Orks are a very aggressive faction, capable of dealing a lot of damage very quickly. Their warlords help you do this by increasing damage output in some way, and many of the bodyguards have aggressive traits as well, such as Furious Charge and Outflank. Let's start off looking at the warlords. There are 4 options. Now the first one that I got was Boss Zagstruck, but he is one of the weaker ones in my opinion. He has kind of low health for a warlord and only 1 attack type. Despite the fact that he's holding a gun in one hand, he does not have a ranged attack. His special rule does allow for a little bit of flexibility in army composition, so that is one positive thing about him. Over here we have Captain Badruck, who I believe is the most popular Orc warlord. His special rule is very powerful, one of the most powerful ones in the game. Whenever you destroy an enemy card, one of your Orcs can attack for 50% of its ranged attack. So it does limit your deck composition to ranged, preferably powerful ranged units, but it is straightforward and very easy to use. My personal favorite warlord is Gazgul Thraka. This guy is a beast, recently updated with the new artwork and some buffed stats. He is very powerful, and his special rule, you don't actually see the results immediately. Whenever you destroy an enemy, it buffs his melee attack. But when he deploys, he will make himself known, and with Furious Charge, which I have at level 2, it deals 50% of his melee damage. I typically get him up to over 120 melee by the time he deploys, so he can crush almost anything he's deployed opposite from. So a lot of fun to use. The 4th warlord to enter the game is Boss Snickrot. Now this guy is much lower level, and he has a very different playstyle from the other warlords. He requires a little more patience and planning. I don't think he's quite as good, but if you're up for a little bit of a challenge, this is the guy for you. Now let's talk about bodyguards. And first, we've got to talk about the elephant in the room, the Gorkanaut. Now, I really want to like this card. It's an awesome model, but at 88 points, it is one of the most expensive cards in the game, and it just does not have the stats to back that up. Just not a very cost-effective card, and nobody uses it except for the AI in the campaign. Now, when talking about cards that are actually used, and maybe overused, the Orks have their infamous buggies. Now these buggies are very good, very high health, high damage, and high initiative as well, helping you to take the first turn. They really don't have any weaknesses other than being expensive in terms of points. So we got the Squig Buggy here with Taunt. We got the Boosta Blasta with Precision Shot. Got the Snaz Wagon over here with Shield, and the Shock Jump Dragsta with Outflank. All of these very powerful ranged buggies. Also got the Dakajet over here. If you just want pure ranged firepower, this thing deals a huge amount of damage, especially when paired up with Captain Badruck. Over here I got a melee version of the buggy, but you don't see this one used as often. Though if you do want to go melee with Orks, they have some strong options like the Def Dread here with Furious Charge. This one I think is a little more fun. The Def Dread with Berserk. It can power itself up throughout the course of the battle. So yeah, these buggies are really good because obviously they synergize well with Captain Badruck with their powerful ranged attacks. But they actually work well with the other warlords as well, because you can just deploy those buggies first, mow down the enemies with ranged, and then when your warlord deploys, it can attack with a huge melee attack that has been charged up. Now, I do kind of want to... So I've used the buggies a lot in ranked mode, but I kind of been wanting to try out some different strategies, branch out a bit. So let's look at some of the other options they have here. One of the recent additions is this massive Squigoth with Berserk. Unfortunately too low of a level to really be of any use at this point, but might be fun to play around with in the future. Another card I recently got is the Def Killer Wartrike. This is another one that becomes quite powerful when upgraded, but I haven't used it much yet. Moving down the line, we start to run into more of these infantry type units and light mechs. This guy stands out, the Gruk Face Ripper war boss with inspiring presence. He's got pretty good stats. There are actually a number of cards with inspiring presence, so I like the war boss. There's also the Def Grippa, if I can find him somewhere. These orcs, they all look the same. Here he is. Okay, this guy also has inspiring presence, and at a lower points cost, this guy is actually quite useful. I've used him quite a bit with the buggies. Now, if you're going for more of a hybrid type of deck with multiple attack types, we've got the only Psyker that the Orks have, the weird boy Ed Zappa. He does have a pretty powerful psychic attack, and I've used him a decent amount in the campaign. And yeah, this is another legendary here, the mini tank squadron. It's kind of a weird unit. At level 3, it's actually pretty decent for its low cost. It's got taunt, so it can protect your more valuable units. And there are other things. We got some artillery here, which can pair well with Badruk. I think it has only one attack type, but quite a bit of range damage. We've also got a number of ranged units like these orcs with the shootas, and we got choppas as well with the melee attack. We've got some weird kind of units here with outflank, the commandos, I suppose. Commandos tend to have the outflank abilities, and we got the fodder, cannon fodder here. Gretchen with endless. A lot of these are interchangeable, and I kind of just, if I have a few extra points left in my deck, I'll throw one in, depending on how I'm feeling. We've also got, I forgot to mention, the Pain Boy here. Pain Boy is the only orc who is capable of healing. He has Medicae, so he can heal up whatever you have on the field. I've used him a little bit as well. So that is the orc roster for you. Again, the buggies have been in the spotlight for a long time, but it seems like the developers have been kind of wanting to encourage more kind of different strategies, so have been seeing more of the infantry making their way into people's decks recently. So let me know what you think of the orcs, which of the warlords is your favorite, and if there are any units that I skipped over that you think are worth talking about, let me know in the comments. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.